Hello and welcome back to another one of my FPL videos. I of course am the FPL Train, and in this video we're going to be looking at some transfer plans ahead of game week 36. So only 3 game weeks left now until the end of the season. It's sad, but it's been a long season, so I'm kind of glad it's coming to an end. And then obviously we've got a couple of weeks off, and then before you know it, the Euros start up again, which is going to be insane. Can't wait for that though. But anyways, only 3 game weeks left, so realistically now you're looking at transfers that are going to be from now possibly until the end of the season. You might go for 1 week punts, but I've got 3 players in here that you could really just look at differential wise anyway, going forward to the end of the season. I mean, one of them not so much differential, but more of a must have kind of thing due to an injury. But the other 2, I think they're very much outsiders, and you never know, if they got a couple of goals right at the end of the season, you'll be absolutely buzzing. But anyways, before all that, we're going to look back on a couple of transfers I mentioned a couple of weeks ago now. So I didn't do a transfer plans video in game week 35. So these 3 players here I recommended were actually from game week 34. So it's been 2 game weeks since obviously these were recommended. Now, first up on here, it isn't great to be honest. So I said take out Pedro Porro, who was actually injured at the time, and bring in Fabian Schär. Now, you wouldn't believe it, but it's now the other way around. So Pedro Porro is obviously back, and Fabian Schär, he went off actually injured in the last game for Newcastle against Sheffield United, which was really, really frustrating. So he only came away with 2 points in the last 2 game weeks, which is a bit frustrating because just before that, he was absolutely smashing it. I think he got like 20 points in 2 game weeks, so that's a bit frustrating. Really missed out on that one, really. Meanwhile, Pedro Porro still actually has another game. He plays tonight, or not, sorry, tonight. He plays tomorrow night, should I say, against Chelsea. So he could easily outperform Shara. But so far, it's 2-1. It could easily be just 2-2. But I do think he'll get a couple more points tomorrow night. So that's not the best start. The second one here, I mean, it started off great. So again, this is exactly the same situation. So at the moment, when I did this, Bowen was out injured and Eze was fit. Now, Eze didn't play the last game because of injury, and Bowen came back and scored. So, Bowen's got 13 points. He scored obviously against Liverpool, came away with a bag full of points from that game. And Eze, I mean, yeah, he absolutely smashed it in game weeks 34, sorry, which was, of course, the double game week, which Crystal Palace, they absolutely, smashed it out of the park. He obviously scored, against West Ham, got an assist, and ended up with a bag load of points there. He got 11 points, then he got the 3 against Newcastle, which meant he got 14 points. So he only just beat Jared Bowen by 1 point. So if you had both of these players, you'd be buzzing. But obviously, it turned out to be a bit of a, if you replace Bowen for Eze, 1 point in it, it's a bit disappointing, really. Unless you obviously, you brought Eze in for game week 34, took him out and brought Bowen in for 35, you would be buzzing because you're up 27 points. But, yeah, I mean, I've got it as a green because obviously he outperformed him. But, yeah, it's a bit disappointing, really. There's only 1 point in it now. And the final one was obviously Ivan Toney for Cunha. So, when I originally did this as well, Cunha was fit. Then Gary O'Neill came out and said he's not fit for the double game week in 34, which was really frustrating. So if you did what I did and decided to go for Mateta instead, you'd be buzzing. But yeah, so Cunha didn't actually play. Well, he did play the second game in game week 34, but he got a yellow card, which was frustrating. So he ended up with no points. But then he did obviously play against Luton, and obviously he got an assist in that game. Played 75 minutes as well, to be fair. So he came away with 5 points. And then Ivan Toney, he's just been one disaster after an absolute another, which is of course why I said get rid of him. Obviously, he didn't play in game week 34, which is against Luton. So the game weeks where I would have wanted Toney, Sheffield United and Luton, he didn't play a single minute in. So the reason why I kept him in my team was for the good fixtures. I actually I had enough of him for game week 34 and didn't even have him in my team. So I know I got away with that one myself. But yeah, he ended up with just 2 points against Everton. Played 90 minutes, but Brentford, disappointing really. It's Everton. So yeah, another poor performance from Toney really. But yeah, at least Cunha outperformed them. So in the end, technically all 3 of them outperformed the guys that I recommend getting rid of. Porro can obviously change that in tomorrow night's game. But yeah, I've got to say, it's only a couple points in it. So it's a bit disappointing. But obviously, it can change your rank massively. But yeah, I mean, ideally it would have been great if Eze, Shah and that was still fit, and poor Bowen was still injured. But game week 34 it looked great, but now it doesn't look as great. I mean, to be fair, you know, you can't judge an injury. You don't know when it's going to happen. But yeah, it's frustrating. But if you had game week 34 Eze, you buzzing. If you got Bowen in 35, you wouldn't buzzing. So yeah, that really is the killer, really, the Bowen one, to be fair. But at the end of the day, all three of them currently outperform the other guys, so I'd kind of take that. So then, that's enough of me nattering on about those past transfers. So let's look forward then to the future transfers. And the first up in here, I've got Edison out for David Raya. Now, originally when I was setting all this up, obviously Edison went off injured against Wolves with a shoulder injury at half time. Left the stadium even with a sling, so it didn't look good. Pep even says the injury doesn't look good, but literally within the last hour or so, there has been some update on Edison, and apparently the injury isn't as bad as it first looked. So they're hoping he's going to be back before the end of the season. Some saying he might even be back for Fulham away, which is great because he has the double game week in 37. If he's back for that first game, that would be amazing, especially if you still own him. So you could actually hold off on him. But if you don't want to gamble, for obvious reasons, and obviously a lot of people now don't have triple Arsenal anymore because of the fixtures and other people double game week in game week 37, then why not go for David Raya in goal? He's cheaper. He's got the best defence in the league with Arsenal. His game week 36 fixture against Bournemouth, it's at the Emirates, that's decent. Away to Man United is a bit tougher, but they've got to win it if they want to win the title. And then the final game week is against Everton, who are already safe from relegation, so they could be on holiday. So the fact that that's also at the Emirates as well could be a good thing for Arsenal on top of that. So you've got two good fixtures for David Raya, best defence in the league. Man United, you just don't know what's going to happen in that game. If you got a clean sheet there, that'd be. I can actually see him getting 3 clean sheets, but you never know United. That's the thing. With Edison, though, like I said, if he is back for game week 37, possibly just hold off. I would. Especially as well if you've got a decent backup keeper. But obviously, those people who are bench boosting don't really want to take a risk with Edison. Obviously, with a double game week, you might want to go for a different double week goalkeeper, like the Chelsea guy. Or you think, you know what, I'm just going to go for Raya. I know he's going to start, and there's a good chance he can get a clean sheet. So, it's not a bad shout going for Raya, but obviously, I definitely would recommend holding off to close to deadline before you make any decisions in terms of Edison. But yeah, Raya is definitely a good enough replacement for Edison. So then, with my midfield changing it might be a bit of a surprise one then. So I've gone for Bruno Fernandes out and Morgan Gibbs-White in, which is a surprise because obviously Bruno's got about double game week in 37. So you might be thinking, well, this is absolutely stupid. This is absolutely crazy. But hear me out. So number one, Man United are poor. Yeah, they've just drew 1-1 with Burnley. Number two, game week 36, Crystal Palace away. Crystal Palace are looking good now under the new manager. Their double game week, yes, they're both at Old Trafford, but Arsenal and Newcastle, two very good sides. And then game week 38, I mean, I've got to admit, it's probably the only decent fixture for United because obviously most of Brighton's key players are out injured, so yeah, he could do well there. The replacement, though, Morgan Gibbs-White, he's got Sheffield United, best team to play this season. Forest, they win that game, they stay up pretty much, so that's a must-win game, probably, say, for Forest. So, they've got to score there. Chelsea at home, Chelsea are awful. Let's not hide the fact they are awful. They're getting a lot of people, sticking up for them, but the fact is, they are awful. Yes, I know they had a good game, the other week, or the other day, should I say, but no, they're not good enough. And obviously, the last game at 38, is Burnley away, which is obviously a massive fixture if Forest are still in that hunt for relegation, or still, got a chance of being relegated. So, they've got to score goals. Morgan Gibbs-White is one of their key players, whereas obviously United, I mean, they look like they're probably already going on holiday. They know they can't get Champions League spot. They probably don't give a damn about whether they're in Europa League or Europa Conference anyway. So, realistically, Man United are more than likely going to be on holiday than obviously Nottingham Forest. So, I definitely look at possibly going for Morgan Gibbs-White. He's much cheaper as well, which is great as well. But yeah, why not go for the gamble? He's less than 2% owned. Everyone's going for Fernandez. Why not think outside the box and go for a team that have to score goals? So then on to the final transfer on here. Then it's going to be a forward change here. I'm not doing any defensive changes. You know, obviously I could go on about Fabian Schär being out injured, but we don't know if he's going to be back for game week 36 yet. And, you know, looking at forward changes is much more interesting. So I've got Darwin Núñez out for Carlton Morris. Darwin Núñez, now, he has been one big fat disappointment again this season. There's no other word to describe him other than disappointing. Frustrating, maybe, yes. But yeah, the guy's still 16.2% owned. Liverpool look like they're falling off the wheels now. You know, they've got Spurs at home, 36. That ain't great. You know, then it's Villa and 37. That ain't great. And even Wolves isn't a great fixture either, really, for Liverpool. So, they're 3 tough fixtures. And this guy has not actually scored since Sheffield United in game week 31, which is the start of April. So, it's been a month now since this guy's actually scored a goal for Liverpool. So, he's gone a bit of a goal drought again, which is no surprise, really. So, yeah, he's been a bit disappointed. And the fact as well is Carlton Morris, a guy who plays for Luton Town. So, bear in mind, Darwin Núñez plays for Liverpool, one of the most attacking teams in the league. Carlton Morris has outscored Darwin Núñez in FPL points this season. You know, let that sink into your head this season. I mean, to be fair, Darwin Núñez has got 11 goals and 11 assists this season. To be fair, when you look at that, that is actually pretty decent, to be fair. So you can't really complain too much about that. Whereas Carlton Morris, on the other hand, his stats are a little bit different. So he's actually got 10 goals and 6 assists. So he's actually got less goals and assists this season. But he's just had more games. That is the reality. He's been playing more minutes, which has meant he's got more points in FPL. I mean, it's only 9-point difference. But anyways, the fact is, Carlton Morris is battling relegation. Luton are fighting for their lives in their last 3 games of Everton at home. Everton are now officially safe from relegation, so they can go on holiday, which is a bonus for Luton. West Ham away. I mean, I think West Ham are probably on holiday. They're too busy looking at what managers to replace David Moyes with, and while David Moyes is thinking, I don't know whether to leave or not, so they could possibly be all over the shop. And then Fulham at home, their season's pretty much finished as well. So if they've, well, I think obviously they will still be battling relegation in game week 38, in my opinion. So they've got to score goals, exactly the same as Nottingham Forest. You want players who've got to go for it, got to go all out attack. So realistically, I think it's a sensible decision, really, to go for a guy like Carlton Morris. Literally, he's less than 6% owned as well. Nobody's looking at him at the moment. Everybody's too focused on going for Nicholas Jackson, who is possibly one of the worst strikers in the Premier League. Carlton Morris is definitely a better striker than him. You know, he should be playing for Chelsea, not bloody Jackson. And obviously, that is one thing. And who else is everybody going at? So we've got Haaland. And who's that first striker? I'm trying to think of what my team's looking at. Oh, Isak, who's actually in form. Sorry. So yeah, you've got to have Isak. You've got to have Haaland. And why not go for Carlton Morris? He's a much better option, in my opinion, than Darwin Núñez and Nicholas Jackson. So those are the transfers that I'm recommending from now, and especially into the end of the season. These 3 guys could definitely work out for the rest of the season. Let me know what you think of these transfers, and let me know what transfers you're thinking about doing from now until the end of the season. Please as well, if you like this video, don't forget to click that like button, and if you didn't like the video, click the like button anyway. That'd be great. And if you didn't like it as well, just leave some feedback. I'm always, you know, keen to see what I'm doing wrong and what I'm doing right as well. And please as well, don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well. And I'll see you all on the next one.